Meeting is called to order. Mr. Ryan Cairns will lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll need a roll call to determine if we have a quorum tonight.
Ryan Cairns.
Here.
Steve Downs. Here. Douglas Martinek.
Here.
Melanie Walters.
Here.
Rachel Schultz. Here. Tom McCarthy. Not here. Karen Tepley. Here. Ron Fruit.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Was this meeting properly noticed?
This meeting was properly noticed. The original agenda was posted last week on Wednesday, and amended agenda was posted prior to 4:30 yesterday afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. One thing we're going to do, we've got a guest here from Madison tonight to go item 16, insurance proposal from League of Wisconsin Municipalities. Ryan is here. We're going to move him up right after we pay the bills so he can get home. For public comment tonight, I have 2 sheets. If you want to speak, I need a sheet, please. Is there anyone who hasn't turned one in who wants to speak tonight? All right, then public comment is going to go right after Ryan does. So again, after the bills and then after the insurance presentation, we'll do public comment. And then Ashley tells me number 18, the MOU for the radio repeater needs to be removed from tonight's agenda. Are there any other amendments that we need? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Motion from Rachel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melanie. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one's carried. Okay. Department head reports and concerns. Mr. Glassbrenner, what do you have for us tonight?
I think what I'll report on tonight is primarily Public Works. I did give a brief review of economic development during the Finance Committee meeting. So Public Works, of course, we are dealing with the first snowstorm of the season, which was a good one, and was our first snow removal emergency declaration. We did lose our crew lead out of the streets department, and so we've got a lot of people filling in and trying to keep the wheels turning. So I think the snow removal team did a pretty good job. We did have a number of places in the city that we did get some calls on, and we've diligently tried to get back out to those. But this was a kind of a non-typical first snowstorm of the season, and it was a bit challenging. So thank everybody for their patience, and thank you to the crew who, by this point in the week, already has 50 to 60 hours in. So, in buildings and grounds, we are dealing with a airport master planning process. We have been consistently working on pruning all the trees throughout the parks. We've literally removed dozens and dozens of truckloads of brush from low-hanging branches that could produce safety hazards for mowing conditions. Of course, snow removal also affects buildings and grounds, and we are now trying to operate both of the groups, the streets crew and the buildings and grounds crew. We're looking at them as a public works department, and so we are cross-training and having each of the groups work together a lot more frequently. In the streets department, we were leaf removal right up until snow flew, brush removal. We had a lot of snow removal equipment prep that we went through. Landfill maintenance, we have a brush pile there. That's always an ongoing project for us, removing brush from below the landfill up into the landfill. We are working on street inventory updates required by the state of Wisconsin for general transportation aid. Just for people's knowledge, we roughly receive $3,000 per mile of registered road in the city of Richland Center. We have roughly 30 miles, and there are roads right now that we do maintain that are not in the inventory. So it's good that we're moving through the process of an inventory update. And we are also moving through a street rating process in conjunction with MSA engineers. This is another process that's required every 2 years by the state. So plenty going on.
Thank you. How about Misty? Will we have the microphone on your end?
We have laws going on in the city clerk treasurer's office as well. Tax bills should be going out mid-December, so we're hoping around the 15th of December to get those from the county and get those out in the mail. End of the year planning, and then, of course, moving into 2026 already, so.
Thanks. And we'll just get it from, Jason, can you, let's head over to the other side of the room here. Madam Librarian, what's new your way?
At the library, we have 2 seats open on the library board, each for a city resident, so if that's of interest to you, please check in with myself, Library Board President Karen Tepley, and I believe there's a volunteer application on the city website that should be completed as well. We will be closed during the holiday season, December 24th, 25th, December 31st, and January 1st. We will also close at 3 p.m. on Friday, December 19th, to give our staff the opportunity to attend the city holiday party. We are currently working on updating the library's strategic plan for 2026 through, I believe it'll be a 3-year plan. Should be forthcoming in mid-2026, and I believe that will include a community survey, so excited to get public input on that. And at the library, we currently have the giving tree. If you have hats, gloves, mittens, warm items that you'd like to donate to the tree for the community, please bring those in. We also have a free pantry shelf. You can bring in store-bought, non-perishable, unexpired items for those in need, going on through December 20th. Thank you.
Okay. Jody.
This season is pretty slow for us at the Park and Rec, which is good for planning. We've been able to get a lot of maintenance done at the community center. Matt was helping us out with, we got a lift. We were able to fix our basketball hoop, which was down for a couple weeks, which made a lot of people pretty angry at us. So we also found a lot of sports equipment up in the ductwork, and they were able to clean it out. And it was very dirty. I don't think that's been done since 2012, honestly. So there was a lot up there. So it was nice to get that done and get the Wi-Fi fixed up there. We had an issue with that. And we tried to get the curtain cleaned, but we're gonna have to get a power washer, an electric power washer to do that, because that wasn't able to happen with just a broom. So lots of that stuff getting done. And then recreation-wise, we had a kids' night out, and the Lions Club sponsored. We had 24 kiddos and had a lot of fun, and they provided popcorn and other snacks and drinks, and we're gonna do another one in January. We had a free hike that we went out to Strickland Park and had 8 ladies join us on a really, really nice day, but we started out pretty steep, so a couple of them decided to go back. But they're going to come out for the next one. So we also have a giving tree set up for another year. It's been a nice fundraiser for us. And then we have 2 bins out front for Ocooch Mountain Humane Society, as well as the food pantry. And we've already received some donations for that. We're also doing a pool pass sale, so if you guys need to get your pool pass, it's 10% off through the month of December.
Mr. Gold.
Good evening. From the utility side, budget was approved last month. We had our first water main break on Sunday, 10 a.m. It took us about 9 hours to get it fixed down by the White House in the trailer park. We're installing in water and electric AMI meters. Just a reminder from the water department, we talked about this and I talked about it last month, but make sure if you have a vacant house or your home that there's no open windows to where that basement and the water can freeze. It seems like unfortunately every year we have one house that floods out. With the AMI meters, that's going to help us flag. We get reports daily on water use, and if it's increased, we'll be able to check that house out instead of just the monthly with the AMR meters that we have today. On the 80 North, the force main was complete, the curb was put back, and in the park, the blacktop will be put back in the spring. So that's completed and fixed. From the electric department, we helped with the rotary lights, which we always do. If the squirrels cause issue for the show, we go in with the bucket truck and help them out throughout the show. We're changing out meters. Inventory will be the end of the month. All departments are using up their vacation, and we'll just continue with our annual tree trimming that will be starting as we go through the whole electric system annually. From the office, just I guess a note to the public, you would always get a 10-day notice. If you were late or delinquent on your bill, we have switched to voice shot, so you'll get a message from us. And then the orange tags that residents got before we disconnected will also be that way. So it's a tremendous cost savings for the utility, and it streamlines that process. So we've been trying to get folks email and current phone numbers, and if we do not reach somebody, you will get the orange tag and you will get a mailing. So that is matching up with PSC requirements.
Okay, question for you. Building 2 panorama, as they get into the construction a little deeper, do you foresee any supply chain issues with transformers, meters, anything they're going to need out there?
No.
Okay, because we've had that discussion in the past.
We're ready.
So we're good. Okay, fire, how we doing over there? Advice for the folks as we head into the windy winter months, how's it look?
We're at 229 calls. We're pretty much on a record pace. So I would just assume not have one more call, hopefully. We have 11 firefighters in CERT 2, so we had lost a tremendous amount of experience over the last 5 years with 50 years experience, 48 a month ago, Brian Jones, 43 years, and we've got 15 members with 2 years or less. So we were really lucky and fortunate that the community, we're still at 47 members. And a lot of our departments throughout the state really are struggling to have enough members, and we're blessed with folks that want to come out and help out the community. And we do have one of the largest fire districts in the state of Wisconsin, 310 square miles, so we're very fortunate that we have a lot of folks that will help out, and a lot of the businesses that allow those folks to respond during the day or night, so appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, Ashley.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Okay. I missed one, we're going to go back and approve the minutes, my fault. Council, if you take a minute to review that, we've actually got minutes from the last 3 council meetings because we had some special sessions in the last month to discuss ambulance and to approve the city budget. Once you've had a moment to review those, we will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I would move to approve, Mayor, with one correction noted to the November 4th minutes under the airport lease and rental fees, that the vote was actually 8-0 as opposed to the 3-0 that is listed.
Motion from Mr. Fruit, thank you, Ron. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Ms. Tepley. Is there discussion of the minutes? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a motion to approve. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that was carried. All right. Next up, Mayor and Older Persons Committee, Commission Board updates, reports, and requests. Mr. Fruit?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Ms. Templey?
Thank you, Mayor. Have a few things. In addition to Director Pilla's report on the library, just want to point out that through her efforts that Richland Center Library will receive a $10,000 gift through the Carnegie Foundation. Thank you. I wasn't sure what it was there. And then I'm also happy to report that Connect Communities, we put forth an application which was a competitive application, and this process went through planning and went through finance and council. And I'm happy to report that we were chosen, one of 9 communities in Wisconsin, so we're pretty thrilled about that. And Connect Communities, just real quick, it covers the downtown area. So I will be working with Chris Jarvis, and I kind of started this up, so downtown businesses and whatnot will hear more from us in the coming weeks. Historic preservation, the dedication for Vernon Thompson's marker was done, when was that, Ron? It was done. Dates anymore are just not there. Anyways, the marker is in the community center area, like right up in front. It's on the right. So when you're driving by, go take a look and read what the marker has to say for former Governor Vernon Thompson. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thanks, Rachel.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Ellen,
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Mortnick,
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Steve Downs,
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
and Ryan Cairns.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
All right, next up then, let's move down what was to be item 16, insurance proposal from League of Wisconsin Municipalities Bear Insurance. Mr. Ryan Burns, do we have the microphone? Who's got it?
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. My karaoke days. I wouldn't do that to you. Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And it doesn't always happen where I get moved to the front of the agenda, so that was very considerate. So thank you. I represent the League Mutual Insurance Program. If that sounds familiar to you, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities is an association that you are a member of, and we're sort of connected at the hip as the insurance program. I have provided quite a few things in your folder, one of them being the members and participants in our program. And so what you'll see there is we have about 565 members now in the state. We've been an insurance provider for specifically Wisconsin public entities since 1984. So a very strong program. And I think what's really special about this program, and I'm very fortunate to represent the southwestern part of this state, there's only 5 agencies that represent this program, is that the big decisions that are made with this program are your peers. Mayors, administrators, clerks, and so over time, this has become a very efficient insurance program. Our policy is extremely broad, and I think, I want to thank Ashley and Misty. Misty has worked with the League at some of her other communities, and she understands that, I wanted to do 2 things. One, I wanted to put together a very good proposal for you, and which I feel like we did. But also I wanted to sort of organize some dates. Right now I think you're kind of broken up with a few different carriers, and maybe create one access point, which would be through me as the agent. I manage about 165 municipalities in my territory, and I have a team of people behind me. So we truly are specialists, through our agency. Our independent agency has been around for 97 years, so the League definitely partners with agencies that have a good reputation and can manage this program. I did meet with the Personnel Committee, and I want to thank all of you for sitting down and getting into the weeds as far as technical coverages. But, any insurance is difficult to compare apples to apples. So what you'll see, there is a 1-page comparison, and I know we have the summary up, and I'm happy to work through that. But that 1 page was something that I came up with a few years ago, just, in particular for board members to actually see, okay, yes, your price is lower, but what's changed? Are we matching limits? What are the deductible changes? So on and so forth. So feel free to kind of take a glance at that. You can kind of see what the bottom line is. But that, I just wanted to be sort of a snapshot and really create some comfort level for you. But what we're talking about here is all of your core coverages, the property, all of the liability, your workers' comp, cyber liability, and crime. So everything that you kind of sort of have in place currently right now. So let's see who's controlling the, could you scroll down just a few more pages? Yeah, right here, perfect, thank you. So, similar to what you see in the comparison breakdown, but this is, sort of your main limits. And I did talk to the personnel committee. That is one of the higher liability limits that I see. You may not, or may not have recognized that, but, and that's fine. We only have a few within the program. But this is a per occurrence limit with us, which means that there is no aggregate. So you can have as many $10 million claims as you want in a policy period, and you'll never exhaust. So we did match that. That was current with your current program. And I'm sorry, feel free to stop me if you have any questions along the way. So workers' comp, the policy is actually written by the state. The rates are actually set by the state, and your experience mod is actually calculated by the state. So there's not much of a difference here. Our premium's going to be a little bit cheaper. We actually put our employer's liability under our liabilities instead of charging for it on the workers' comp. So yeah, it's cool.
Do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
It's just like,
All right, and so this is all the property. So this is your total insured value at 80 million, which I think is right in line with what you currently have. So under our current property policy, we do a guaranteed replacement cost, which is a very broad way to cover property. So that means if we have a $200,000 building, we lose it and it costs $300,000 to rebuild it, we're going to pay the $300,000. So very broad property policy. Contractors equipment, also under your current program, I think anything over 10,000 produces premium. For us, anything over 25, so there was some savings there as well. And so what you'll see here is this is sort of just the premium breakdown, which I think is kind of nice to see. Our liability is actually rated on employee count, and your police professional is rated on full-time, part-time, and K-9 units. Autos, obviously, it's going to be the number of autos, which I think we're right in line, like I said, as far as the list that were given to me. I think everything is up to date. But, it's, when you take a look at this, I mentioned this to the personnel committee, our premium is lower. But if I was sitting in your shoes, I would say, okay, what does next year look like? And this program, there is no peaks and valleys. I mean, this is a very steady program. I think they're able to accomplish this through mitigating risk with all the resources, but single digit, maybe year to year. And it's more of a captive program as well, so it's not so much like your personal insurance where if you have a lot of losses, the company's going to jack up your rates. Everybody's sort of insulated by the 560 members. The risk is sort of shared. So, autos might be of interest. Anything that's over 100,000 in value, 10 years or newer, we do replacement cost. Any of the other autos, 5 years or newer is replacement cost. Yep, so that's kind of, I guess, getting into the weeds. We kind of did that with the personnel committee. So I think if there's any input from any of you folks that were there, but I do also want to talk about a lot of the resources that you're going to get with this program. There's a member services guide, which I'm not sure if this is attached to this.
It's not in the packet.
It was not in the packet? Okay, so in your hard copies, if you take a look at that, So the league is very thoughtful about their partnerships. And I've experienced this over the last 5 or 6 years where I've seen the decisions that are made on who we partner with as far as resources. And really it comes from feedback from what communities really need. So I think our utilization is great with our resources, which not a lot of carriers experience that. They have a lot of things that are just underutilized. But for instance, this crisis risk is only a couple years old. But if you do not have like a crisis committee here or have discussions about a catastrophic event, and crisis looks different for everybody, but you know, think of the high profile events that we experience in the state, and do you have a plan for that? This is free to you to actually call them. If the media shows up, you just want some input, how do we manage this? This is something new for Richland Center. Page 4 might be of interest to you. We do a lot of just government training in general. We do public officials liability training, we do conflict resolution. Looks like everybody in here gets along pretty well for the most part. But that's also something that you would experience probably with the league and the association, and you're sort of rounding it out because we do know that you know, most of our resources are maybe potentially related to what could turn into a claim. We do have a nurse case hotline. I think you probably have something similar to that. That's going to be something that would make administration's life a little bit easier. Any work comp claim or work-related injury you can triage with a nurse, and the first report of injury and the claim is actually filed for you. I think this is a fantastic resource, Stafford and Rosenbaum on page 6. That is free HR, hiring, firing, discrimination-related claims, anything if you want to update your HR manual. This is a free legal resource. I know your city attorney's here, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind if an employment attorney was available under those circumstances. Now, there are a few things that impact the bottom line that I did include when I provided information to the Personnel Committee. But on page 7, this is also a fantastic partnership. You know, work comp and your experience mod, and the community has done well there. So you're saving a lot of money. But this is a liaison that will help any employee that's actually injured to try to prevent a healthcare provider from drawing out a long work comp claim. So instead of having somebody out for 4 or 5 months because they can't get an appointment, you are assigned a navigator and they will help you see somebody, see a specialist, get in for surgery. And that does 2 things. It saves the community money, it protects the experience mod, which right now, as I said, is very good for you, and you should be proud of that. But also, it cuts down on issues with manpower. So why have somebody out, like I said, for 4 months when they could potentially be out for a couple of weeks? This is about $400 per employee. There are lots of consortiums and communities that want this that can't find a way to work it into budget. The league made a decision to allow everybody to have access to this. You just need to do an onboarding if you were to make a decision to come on with the league. I think this is also an employee benefit. This actually extends to all employees' immediate family within the household, which it's not work comp, but I know many administrators, clerks, municipal employees that have utilized this for son or daughter or husband or wife. So this is maybe potentially a good recruitment tool as well. As I mentioned, impacting the bottom line, you'll see on page 8, we actually do a safety grant as well. So that was not included in my premium summary page. I do not include that along with the work comp dividend, but every year that I've been involved in this program, we've declared a safety grant. So 4% of the work comp premium is reimbursed in the form of a safety grant as far as purchasing safety equipment. So which has been nice. It was doubled, it was 2% last year, it's 4% this year. And then as far as the dividend, we do have a formula, but for your community, you will get a 20% flat dividend for the first 3 years. That means regardless of your losses, you will get 20% back, and that's what the flat portion means. Year 4, with your experience mod, if that can continue to maintain, you will go into calculation of your losses, the size of your premium, how long you've been with us, and that's where it starts to climb up. I think one of the higher dividends I have is 45%, significant. I talked to Jason in the personnel committee meeting. Page 9 is our training. We're very respectful of whatever the current training environment is, but at the same time, we'll do an onboarding and basically say, okay, this seems to be working for you, what else can we be doing? And you'll get some input from our safety folks, so there is a process there. But we also do not want to disrupt the lives of any of the department heads as well. But we also are not a micromanager. We don't come in and say, this is how you have to do it. If a community is not doing anything, we're obviously going to have some suggestions, but that would be something we'd probably lean on Jason as to, would you like to see it to continue, or is there room for improvement? The remainder of this booklet here, you'll see starting on page 10, is really geared towards law enforcement. Our public safety specialist, friend of mine, Craig Shervin, he was former police chief in McFarland. He has kind of headed up a lot of this, which is we purchased a bunch of DART simulators, and they are mobile, and we provide them to our communities, and we'll set them up if any of the officers would like to take advantage of that shooter training. This mental health toolkit on page 11 was something that Craig was very adamant and passionate about when he came on board into retirement. He experienced a lot as a police chief, and he's done a fantastic job with this. And he comes out similar to loss control and does an onboarding with the chief and talks to him not only about the DART simulator, the mental health toolkit, but also the significant savings. We actually will reimburse the chief for $2,500 of his Lexipol subscription or equivalent if he's not utilizing that. And there is a discount above and beyond that. But we also have a lot of CE training available for the law enforcement through our online training portal. So looking at, once again, the bottom line, there's going to be significant training opportunities and maybe cut back on what they may be paying for. And Craig will probably get to the bottom of that after having a meeting with him. This NTN on page 12 is also relatively new, I think last year. This is also a recruitment assistance, so if chief is having any difficulty there with getting folks in, so that's also something that Craig would want to discuss with him. And page 13 is a little bit more about training and law enforcement. There's a ton there, and my background is law enforcement. That was my original career, so now I'm sort of in this world of municipal insurance, and I will say that I've been in insurance about 15 years, I then became a fraud investigator, did liability, a bunch of that stuff, but I look at this program and I think about, and I get to experience the legal when we really get into the complex claims. And I couldn't think of a better carrier to be with, honestly. I mean, there are very few carriers that write municipal insurance in Wisconsin, but I basically some peace of mind that you would be in great hands with this carrier. And I'm very proud to be a part of it, so. But with that being said, that's kind of what I have this evening. Is there any questions? Be happy to address.
Okay, go ahead.
So for the crime coverage, does that contemplate making the city whole if it's victim of crime, or defending the city if it's alleged that an agent of the city commits the crime?
Yeah, great question. So there are some third-party coverages, I guess I would refer to that as like crime being committed, so washing checks, some sort of fraud. And then what it really is, and you know, back in 2018, the state had made a decision to allow it to act in lieu of the bond. It's also an employee dishonesty, so embezzlement, missing of funds, things, so there's sort of internal and external component, along with some cyber coverage as well. We do pick up some social engineering claims in there.
Further questions or comments?
Ryan, if you scroll down like 10 pages, you'll get to your sheet, or, sorry, they stole the iPad from you. That has the breakdown prices. It's page 136 in the PDF. If you could just review the coverages, the side-by-side, and outline real quick to the city council, the savings. Some of the highlights that I remember from personnel is one, like the aggregate on the liability, there is none. So you can have as many $10 million claims as you want. Another thing tailored to the municipalities that you talked about is the autos. If we acquire new autos, they're covered automatically. The replacement cost on the buildings, the replacement cost on the cars or the vehicles over those amounts that you mentioned, all things that are stand out in my head as great coverage for the city to fill some of the gaps that we've had.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan, for bringing that up, because as I said, not only organizing dates, but the feedback that I received from Misty was, and with this program is we don't endorse the policy for a bunch of changes. So auto's correct. Everything is automatically covered. We just need to have it correct at renewal. So no deviation in premium there. The property, anything newly acquired, is automatically covered. So I think, you know, once upon a time, as I mentioned, this program was built by your peers, was we don't want a bunch of endorsements, and from a budget perspective, we don't want to, at the end of the year, what did we actually pay? So once you get our pricing, that's what it is for the year.
If you just go to the second page, the bottom line, the comparison to where we're at today and what this is.
Yeah.
264 versus 224.
Yeah, and that was, I think I did receive the renewal, so that's either expiring or renewal. Either way, there is significant savings, like I said, but the rate just does not deviate within this program. So anything that's going to impact into next year, if you come back and say, oh, I remember Ryan saying nothing was going to change, the rate won't change. If exposures change, that's what will change premium. So rate's the same, but if we build a $2 million building, that will be included in the total insured value. But, you know, come budget season, I'm doing, you know, crystal ball predictions as well, which is another, I think, benefit. I think it's, you know, Misty administration has a lot on their plate that time of year. I'm able to give indications, you know, right around budget time, because we have our reinsurance agreements early enough so that I can actually share that. And everybody has a different way of doing it. And that time of year, I feel like an accountant, but I'm happy to do it because it's helpful.
Further questions or comments? Okay, did we need a motion on this one tonight? It's on as an action item.
It is an action item.
Yeah.
I'm asking if we need a motion here.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a motion.
I will make a motion to authorize the execution of a contract for insurance with Bear Insurance effective January 1st of 2026.
Okay, we got the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second, Mr. Downs. Any further discussion?
Can I just add, we have throughout this process working with Ryan, we've also been talking to our current provider, making sure they're aware, seeing if there was any way our current provider could compete, etc. And so I want to express my gratitude to Wells, Cooper, and Elliott for the work they've done with us and being such a good partner with us. They completely understand with cost savings like this, it's a hard and an easy decision. And so they've expressed full support behind any transition away from them for something like this and have acknowledged what a quality program this is.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a roll call on that.
Walters,
Aye.
Martinek,
Aye.
Downs, Cairns,
Aye.
Groot,
Aye.
Headley,
Aye.
Schultz. Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, let's pay the bills. Thank you, Ryan, for your time and for the drive out.
Yes, sir.
Presentation. Be careful getting home.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, time to pay the bills while the council reviews the bills. Read the following: the bills presented on this day excluding any library fund invoices, having been referred to the Finance and Budget Committee and said committee, having duly investigated and audited these bills, hereby make the following recommendation: that the city bills presented on this day be paid with the following adjustments and/or exceptions. There are no adjustments listed. It is signed by all three members of the Finance Committee. So once the council has approved, we will entertain a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second? Second from Mr. Downs. Discussion of the bills. Okay, hearing none, we'll need a roll call to pay the bills.
Cairns,
Aye.
Downs,
Aye.
Martinek,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Schultz. Aye. Headley,
Aye.
Groot.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Bills are paid. Treasurer's report. Again, allow the council to review. If you have questions or comments, Misty, anything that stands out this time, any changes we need to be aware of, significant?
No, there is not. I would say that the only thing is I did receive notification from the county today that the postal system is changing the way that they postmark envelopes, and so it will affect tax payments, because if you want your payment made on December 31st, typically if you took it into the Richland Center post office on December 31st, they would postmark it there. They're not doing that anymore, so they will go to a central location before they'll be postmarked. So if you want your payment applied on December 31st, you'll want to make sure that you get it to the post office in time so that it gets to the central location timely.
So do we know what in time is going to be, like how many days?
It's the postal system, so I mean, my guess is I would say 5 to 7 days. I don't know how long it takes, because when you drop mail in Richland Center, it leaves Richland Center, goes to a central location, gets sorted, postmarked, and then comes back, so.
Okay, so probably good advice would be to bring it down here. Joanne, can we get that on the radio like a lot? Because that's gonna happen. I mean, people, that's been that way since forever, and people are gonna try to drop that in the mail, and their taxes will be applied.
So in addition to that, the city clerk's office will be closed on the 31st and the 1st of December, so the 30th would be the last day to come down with that payment. And then I guess just, we're working on a schedule. We're gonna have extended hours throughout the tax season, so we're not sure what that will be. We'll send a newsletter out with the tax bills outlining what that schedule will look like.
Okay, thanks. Questions or comments regarding the treasurer's report? Okay, nothing further, Misty, from you?
No, Mayor.
Nothing further for her from the council? Okay, and we will proceed to public comment. I have 3 people who have filled out the form want to speak. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Mr. Greg Deckman.
Greg Deppman, 40 East 5th Street in Richland Center, Wisconsin. Sorry if this is a little convoluted, but I didn't have a lot of time to throw it together. Speaking on Story Field, I was a presenter of the petition that was circulated on going for a referendum for the citizens of Richland Center to vote on this, on the sale of this property to Enki, whatever it's called today. First petition, we turned in at the end of October. We had 781 signatures, 600 plus certified by the city clerk. It was not accepted due to some technical errors on the form. Okay. So according to Wisconsin statute 9.2, we had 10 days to make corrections and resubmit our petition. We chose to recanvass again. We had 10 days to do this. And in that 10 days, we came up with 531 signatures of people supporting the referendum to go, on the sale of Story Field. Well, within those 10 days, the city transferred the deed of the property of Story Field to Enki. The way we understand 9.20 was within those 10 days, nothing could proceed. But yet it was transferred. So today, I received an email from the clerk's office that they had approved our petition, our second petition that we turned in. I didn't see that until about 5 o'clock. It was sent, it said like 3 hours previous to that, so I'm guessing 1:30 that the email was sent. I don't know where we're at here, folks. Now our petition has been approved. It's been sold, and there's some choices that you have to make that affect us all. I mean, I think some of this could have been maybe handled differently. I can't say for sure what could have been done. I have my ideas, and I suppose others do. But I didn't find out about it until, after Jeopardy. I watched Jeopardy. And I looked at my email. And here it was. I go, holy cow, we'd gotten together for a little meeting today. And so I got on the emails and phone and called who I needed to call. But what I want to leave you with here is there's a lot of people, a lot of signatures that we've gotten that feel very strongly that they want to be heard on this sale. That's all we were doing with our petitions, is wanting people to understand that they have a right to vote on our public property that was being sold. And so I urge you to take that into consideration, what your constituents want and what they're saying. And it's all we're asking for.
Thanks, Craig. Mark Siptestedt.
Mark Siptestedt, 792 Valley View Drive, citizen. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the grassroots door-knocking circular tours who supported the Story Field referendum. Their dedication resulted in the collecting of nearly 600 signatures, which is almost half the number of people who voted in our last election. More than double the amount required to advance the referendum process. During the course of the referendum, the town transferred the deed for Story Field. This action occurred in the midst of the referendum process and directly violates our right to referendum as outlined under Wisconsin Statute 9.20. Tonight's proceedings are part of a process required under Wisconsin Statute 9.20, subsection 3 and 4. I'm going to read those to you just so that we're clear on this. When the original or amended petition is found to be sufficient and the original or amended ordinance or resolution is in the proper form, the clerk shall so state or attach the attached certificate and forward it to the Common Council Village Board immediately. That's why it happened today. The Common Council or village board shall, without alteration, either pass the ordinance or resolution within 30 days following the date of the clerk's final certificate today, or submit it to the electors at the next spring or general election. That's your choices. Two choices. That's all you get. The council board can, by 3/4 vote members, elect to have a special election. I don't think our city citizens would like that extra expense put forward to them. The mayor has led the public to believe that the sale of Story Field is a closed matter. To be clear, the sale of Story Field is not finalized. Story Field is not lost to a developer. Our ordinance simply requires that any sale of Story Field by the city must be decided by a vote of the people. The people get to have their say, rather than solely you council members and the mayor. And in closing, this is where I'm probably going to get a little ticked here. I do feel bad for those supporters who felt the retribution of our city because you signed this petition. And if you think I'm making that up, I got the emails. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Mr. Greg Peterson.
I heard rumors that the city got a big grant for development, and they're gonna go hands with the county on the campus ground, and put water and sewer down in there. Is there any truth to that?
Don't know yet. We're trying to work with the county on it. Don't know if it's going to happen or not.
But there is, you're trying.
We'd like to.
Yes, so. And then we tried telling you to go up there and build houses all the time, you found an excuse, you couldn't do it.
No, we tried to do that in 2021. They shouted us down. They finally got back in the room with us now. They were darn right it's okay. It's the truth.
And it'll come out in the wash. So.
It is out in the wash. You want to read the meeting minutes?
Do what? Well, speak up.
I just said it. This was all proposed in 2021. We did an open forum at the Phoenix Center. They wouldn't entertain it. We tried to talk to them again. Since then, they still wouldn't entertain it. At the last public community forum, the public one at the Phoenix Center, I asked Dave Turk in front of the whole room if they would start talking about it again, which we've wanted to do for 4 years. So now they're talking about it. I can't tell you if it's going to happen. We just got back in the room with these guys.
So Dave Turk saying it would be 6 years before anything could happen. That was just...
Mark, I don't know.
You don't know? That's what he said right here.
I was there.
Okay.
I don't
All right.
know, Mark, what they're doing.
Well, that's the reason why you kept pushing for Story Field, because you can't do that.
We
Because
still
Dave
don't-
Turk tells you
and
6 years, you can't.
And we still don't know if we can. We're trying to.
Yeah.
Okay. Warren?
I'm done with you.
Okay. Next on the agenda, number 5, Wisconsin Statute 920 petition and ordinance, Mr. Wendell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As has become my custom, I brought materials for anyone who wants to double check my work or follow along. Well, I mean, there's no reason to bury the lead here. It was characterized that the council has 2 choices regarding the referendum. That is simply not true. The 920 petition as presented falls under an exemption established under 110 years of case law precedent. And as such, the petition is an invalid means of attempting to invalidate the ordinance. In other words, the minute that the council adopted the ordinance authorizing the sale of Story Field, 920 petition became an invalid means of addressing that. So again, materials available if anybody would like to double check that work. So I don't want to simply leave it at that because I believe that there's too much public interest and passion on this subject. I don't want to just dismiss it. So just a brief outline.
I want to hold you up for a minute.
Sure.
Okay. As Mr. Sitta said, pointed out, their petition is done through Wisconsin statute 9.20, correct?
Yes.
I believe Wisconsin 9.20 is governed by Wisconsin 8.40. Is that accurate?
The form of the petitions, yes.
Wisconsin statute 9.20 is governed by 8.40.
Yes.
Does 8.40 specifically state that an affidavit must be on the bottom of each sheet of pages before they're circulated for signatures?
It doesn't describe an affidavit. There are certain statements that have to be sworn to or attested to by signature.
Okay, so if it's not called an affidavit, it's...
Statements.
Okay, and it's clearly outlined in 8.40.
Yes.
And they have to be on the pages, or it must be deemed insufficient by the city clerk.
That was the deficiencies that were described in the first version of the petition.
So Mark is pointing out that in 9.20, if there's an issue on the petition, you have 10 days to cure it. I don't know if that's
I
right.
believe that was Mr. Jackman.
Well, okay, same, whatever, but you have 10 days to fix it.
Yes.
Okay, except I believe that what 840 says is if the, basically, if the, it's a little bit different here, because if the insufficient information is on those pages, it's not fixing it, it's a do-over. You gotta start from scratch again, because they can't be advanced.
Which we did.
I know you did.
It's kind of
I know you did.
moot. In this instance, they got it back well within the 10-day deadline regardless, so, yeah,
It's all in one, right? Just
Yeah.
one. You need one? Laura? Yeah.
You want one?
Yes.
Here, come on up.
Here, I got one.
Here, come on up.
Got some of them.
Okay.
So then, I guess to clarify the point, the petition itself is not invalid. It is not a valid means of doing what is attempting to be done, which is overturn ordinance 25-8, which authorizes the sale of Story Field and the development agreement. Again, just briefly, an overview of why that is. I mentioned 110 years of case law. In 1911, the legislature changed the laws regarding election to authorize what are known as protest referendum, which is what is attempted here, a petition by the people to repeal a law passed by the governing body.
We're not repealing. We're okay with your petition, what you have. We're just
I'm going to
creating,
continue.
we're creating a new
So
one.
there was a Supreme Court case called Meade, and I apologize, I don't have that in the materials, that deemed that process illegal. And so the legislature changed the law in 1915 to eliminate for at least cities, villages, and towns the right to direct legislation to impact existing legislation. Now, I say impact, I use that kind of interchangeably with repeal because the exemption, and you'll find this right after the conclusion of my memo in the 920 excerpt in the materials out there, it's highlighted. You cannot use a 920 petition to propose an ordinance which repeals an existing ordinance or passage of an ordinance which is in clear conflict with an existing ordinance. I would point specifically to section 4 of the proposed ordinance, where it says explicitly any provisions in conflict with any other city ordinance, resolution, or municipal code provisions shall be controlling, which actually doesn't make sense now that I read that out loud. I believe the intent is to say that any provisions in this ordinance shall be controlling, which is clear conflict. There are some other things in there too, but
Take all this and. What he's saying is, if you have an ordinance that this street goes to the right, you can't make another ordinance that it goes to the left. I mean, it's that simple.
yes, actually that was way easier than what I tried to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I asked the city council, if you got a street that goes one way, and you're saying, we as a council want it to go another way, he's telling you, you can't do that.
Through this process, yes.
Yeah. can't make an ordinance because there's already an ordinance.
Correct.
Yep. See how easy? Does that make sense to you? There's an ordinance to go one way, and you have no power
So,
to create an ordinance to go
hold
the
on
other.
a second. I don't
Even
think-
if the city, even if
So
the
that's
citizens.
a mischaracterization.
I don't think that's right because the
You
council.
just agreed with it.
Give me a second, give me a second, Mark. He said through this process, through the 920 statute, the council could, in fact, repeal an existing ordinance or amend to change the direction of the street, correct?
Yep.
But that's not a 920 petition, that's a
Correct.
council decision. It's not the same mechanism.
Correct.
We're not repealing, I said it.
Clear conflict.
But-
Again, I recommend you read through the materials.
Well, you said that there were some issues with it.
The issues with the petition itself were resolved. That-
You had
that was
issues with
kept
what
clear.
you were writing down,
Yeah, that's.
what you were talking about. You just said it.
Sure, okay.
Okay.
I had issues with it, but they eventually were resolved. It was fully certified and submitted in compliance with 920. 920 is simply not an effective way to accomplish the goal.
All right, so I want
Kudos to the citizens who did it anyway.
Hold on just a minute. Okay, so what you're saying is, if I just characterize that right, because I'm not a lawyer, so the council could, in Mark's example of changing the direction of a one-way street, the legislative elected body can do that. They could repeal an ordinance, amend an ordinance, change the direction of the street. The way things are typically done is through their meetings and vote in quorum. But you can't do that by utilizing statute 920 and petitioning to do that.
Correct.
You see, the lawyer doesn't have anything to say about it. It's right there in statute. I just read it to you.
Yeah, that's
That
the problem
ordinance.
is, so if you rely on a clear reading of the statute, that preclusion isn't included therein, which is why I highlighted it in the materials and why I've referred several times to the 110.
You have two
case law.
actions. That's the law. Two actions. You can act on it, and it becomes an ordinance today, per the law.
Would you like me
You
to
got
continue
30
this
days
discussion?
to act on it, or it goes to the election, and the city, the people of the city have their say. You may win it, guys. You know, you're the ones that made it, us against them. That was not in our thing. All we wanted to do was have the citizens have their say.
Okay, so again, because this is a critical point, go back here. The ordinance that was adopted by the council authorized the land sale, stated it's for the construction of housing, directed the administrator to execute the development.
Correct.
Okay? So the ordinance was adopted, it was published in the Observer, it was then referred back to the Plan Commission for review to make sure it didn't conflict with, for instance, land use map, comprehensive plan, zoning, etc. It did not, so it went back to the administrator, okay? And then she is directed in the language in the ordinance by the council to execute the developer's agreement. I believe, I don't see a way around, she's compelled to do that.
Correct. In an extreme case, I would be required to file for what's called a writ of mandamus, which is a court order for a government official to perform one of their statutory duties.
Okay, so in accordance with the language of the ordinance, she did as she was directed to do once the Plan Commission had reviewed the ordinance. So she contacted the developer and they signed and executed the developer agreement.
Yes.
Okay?
Developer.
And, okay.
Yeah, which developer are you talking about? The one on the ordinance or the one on the deed? Because there's two different names on them.
We addressed
One's
that.
fictitious.
Okay,
Well, it's
so-
still there, Todd.
Mark, I understand, Mark. I'm really not arguing with you. I'm trying to learn. I want to get
Yeah.
it. I'm just trying to get it right.
I think you're learning from the wrong guy, Todd.
Well, he's the city.
Yeah, and he's the one that's making all these typos. I don't know, that's not a typo in my mind. He's making the mistakes, he's giving away property because he doesn't know how to do a deed. He didn't even research the deed.
Okay, hang on. Okay, hang on. So, we addressed the name of the developer at the last council meeting in the minutes. It's in the minutes. Hang on. Is it correct on the developer's agreement, Ashley?
Yes.
What does it say on the developer's agreement? The name of the LLC? Do you remember?
I think it's Enki Properties, yeah.
Thank you.
So city councilman, you ask yourself what a typo is, because that's what he described it as, all right? Back in typing class, a typo, you hit an R or S, T. Go into your phones and put development in it and see if you misspell it, if properties come up. It doesn't.
Okay.
Go in and put properties in there and see if development comes up.
Okay, hang on.
So where's the typo at?
Mark, I gotta continue here.
Yeah.
Just hang on. Okay, so, back where we were, Ashley did as the ordinance directed her to do, which is to execute the developer's agreement.
Yep.
Okay, at which point, it's the city attorney that compels you to prepare the deed for transfer because now it is an executed contract enforceable by both parties, yes?
Correct.
If I say anything wrong, tell me, I'm trying to. Okay.
But when you know there's an active referendum going on?
Hang on, I gotta finish it. So we did that, you did that, prepared the deed for transfer.
And will readily admit that I made an error.
An error?
Okay, come on, just stay with me here. So, but this
You
is,
gave away our property.
guys, it's been corrected, hang in there.
Huh?
It's been corrected.
So we got typo, mistake.
I understand that. Okay, so now, hang on. So we had an executed developer's agreement in accordance with the ordinance. And from that point, you prepared the deed for transfer, which compels the administrator and myself to have it notarized for transfer. Do you remember what you said to me when I asked you what happens if I don't sign that right away?
I believe that was the first time I used the phrase writ of mandamus.
It's absolutely when you use the phrase writ of mandamus. Would you please tell the public what a writ of mandamus is as you described it to me?
Again, it is a court order requiring a public official to perform a duty they are required to by law. It actually is the foundation of judicial review for any other legal nerds.
Okay, so the way you said it to me was that, but then you said exactly that you would do that. Go to the judge, and it's essentially a court order, and your description to me was, as the mayor, I'm sworn to uphold the law, which is obviously true, and that in this case, because it is an adopted ordinance voted on by the decision-making body, which is the city council, that is law, and therefore, I sign it, or that happens.
Yes.
So I did. And when we did that, then I don't know if it was you or your paralegal delivered it to the Register of Deeds for conveyance. Yeah?
Yes.
I don't know if I didn't say that.
No, that's all accurate.
Okay, again, I'm just trying to say it in common English. I don't speak lawyer.
Mr. Wendell, did you do a deed search and everything on the property?
Wendell.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there we are. So when that is delivered by yourself to the Register of Deeds, then it was recorded, as far as I know. Okay, and an error was on the deed, you just covered that. So we corrected that, or not we, you did.
Did you remove the easement? This gets a little interesting.
Which
you want? Yeah. See, you don't do your job. Scott, your utilities?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We have a well pump up there, correct?
We do.
Yeah. Do you have by chance how we came about owning that well pump?
I do not.
Yeah, it was way before your time, way before my time. So the city, as it developed up there, had to come up with a pump system. They went to the school and they said, we would like this piece of property. Well, the school said, okay, you can have that piece of property. But in return, 2 out of the biggest quarters of the year, you shall provide us free water. Now that goes with the property. So Mr. Enke might like to hear that there's an easement on that property that you owned just a little while ago, and you could have got rid of that easement. But now Mr. Enke and all of his apartments up there get a half a year of water, and the city's paying for it, because that's what the easement says. And this guy can't do his job and can't get rid of it. And now it's gone. City council, how do you like that? Our utilities are gonna be paying for their water 6 months out of the year.
Okay, so I just described this as it happened. And I didn't say anything that didn't take place. Okay, now we're here,
Just brushes.
gutter book. So, Mark read off 920, you're explaining the, I don't know if they're called exemptions, 4 exemptions, one of which states that you can't use it to adopt an ordinance that's in conflict with an existing ordinance.
Correct.
The ordinance that was adopted by the city council authorized the sale of the property known as Storyfield.
Yes.
And the proposed ordinance that would be done through this petition states that you can't sell Storyfield.
Yes.
Is that your point?
Yes.
Okay. All right, at this point, do you have more you want to say right now? Or do we need to open it to the council?
Plenty I want to say, but nothing.
Todd, mistake, it just needs a public vote. You get the vote. Boom.
That's
what
the
the
new
new
ordinance.
Yeah.
I heard.
No, that's not what you just said, though.
I just asked him if that's his point. That's what I asked him. And that's his point. So, do you have more you want to say right now, or do you want me to open this to the council?
Nope, I'm good.
Council, questions, comments for Attorney Wendell? Is this, when you look this up online, is this going to show?
It's not going to be highlighted, but yeah, that I pulled that right from the state site.
City council, there's an easy way. You don't have to do anything.
Yes, actually, that's exactly my point.
It says,
Because it'll automatically go. It automatically goes. I told you, there's only 2 choices. You either make it a referendum, don't do anything, 30 days go by, it goes on the ballot.
So, yes, I am directly refuting that statement. That is incorrect
Fine.
factually.
so what is, if you're refuting the statement, what do you believe that's different than what he said?
I believe that this falls under one of 4 narrow exemptions established by the court in 110 years of case law, stating that the council does not have to act in accordance with the 2 options described in the text of 920. And therefore,
So he
must do
says not
nothing.
to act. Just, I would do what he's telling you, not to act. Because it will go to ballot. You don't have to make a decision.
True or not?
I don't act and let's find out who's right.
Okay.
Wow.
That's professional.
All right, hang on. One more time, questions or comments from the council?
So just so I understand this, we're going to use the street example. So the council has voted and the street goes to the right.
Yes, for the point of the hypothetical, the council has adopted an ordinance
Correct.
saying that the street goes to the
The
right.
ordinance says the street goes to the right. So what you're saying under these exemptions is that the citizens cannot put a petition out and say that that street is no longer going to go to the right, it's going to go to the left.
Correct. Even if it says explicitly, we're not repealing the ordinance that says it goes right, it is in clear conflict with the existing ordinance.
Okay. But just to finish that statement, but if the council decides the street should go to the left, the street, to repeal or amend the ordinance, that can be done.
Yep. Yeah, that's always within the council's authority.
That's the right thing to do.
Okay, so, got that. Anything further from you? Or did he get what you need? Okay, anybody else? It's a lot of material that he just gave you to read through. Do you have questions about what he gave you, Doug? What do you think?
I think that there was probably more than just Mike's eyes on the paperwork. You know, we all make mistakes, I think. I don't know anybody yet that can walk on water.
This caliber, you kinda gotta be precise though.
What's that?
Go ask the Title Works company if they're allowed to make mistakes.
Why didn't they catch it?
What?
That's not.
It wasn't presented to them, that's what I'm saying.
It was it was at the Register of Deeds, not at Title Works.
I just think that we can, you know, there's mistakes can be made by everybody. God knows I've made my share and we all have.
That's not what we're
You know,
arguing.
should we have all been looking at this?
He acknowledged you made a mistake.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. We made mistakes.
He made a
It was
mistake.
corrected.
We made a
That's not
mistake
what we're
on
talking
our
about.
petition submission. We weren't allowed just to amend our certification language. And there is nothing in statute that said we had to recollect signatures, but we did anyway. We weren't allowed to just change our certification language.
We started from.
There is no leeway given to us. This is the man trying to, or the citizens trying to fight the man, and we expected more out of all you guys. That's why we came to these meetings, that's why we spoke up. We didn't want to get this way about it. And all you had to do was take it to referendum to begin with, and you might have even won. Just give your citizens a damn chance to vote.
Cannot.
And you say,
We can't.
you bullshit.
No, we can't.
You-
No, we can't.
At the beginning, you would have.
But wait a minute, you can't.
At the
You can
beginning,
now.
you would have.
Okay.
And you
still
can
can.
now.
Mark, we're still sitting here talking about it, man.
And
We can't, hold on, the first petition you turned in could not be advanced to the council.
you're right.
I know,
But we could have just amended that language,
No, you
we could have
can't.
taken care of
Yes,
this
you
like
can,
that.
it says
and
right
you
in there, you may.
you can't take these, wait a minute, listen to me. Listen to me.
I can read it to
Mark,
you.
just listen to me.
I can read it to you.
That's great.
Right from the law.
This is not.
I don't have to listen to you. It says it right in the law. I'm just reading Wisconsin statutes to you. It's only about 4 lines up from where I started at,
Okay.
if you want to hear it.
I've already read it.
Okay, well then,
that's-
don't talk
No, I know.
different than what it says.
Okay. I'm gonna finish the sentence.
Go ahead.
Wisconsin 840, which governs 920, does not allow you to take those signatures, those pages back out and just print that stuff at the bottom after you collected the signatures. You can't do it that way. You can't do it
The
that way.
certification language had nothing to do with the people we're signing, and we have consulted attorneys about that.
Hey, Misty, when you got the first petition and you marked it insufficient, why?
Because the
Hold
certificated,
on.
that's, I can
Let
tell you.
her
I can
answer
read
the
it.
question.
Well, there was, I mean,
answer.
there was many reasons, and it was all provided in a letter, right? So it was,
I don't know, I didn't
the
know
language
letter.
wasn't on there. You can't change the language and certify something after somebody's already signed it.
It's
We're
the
just
And then
changing the language of the
guarantors.
petition.
It's the guarantors that you needed to change the language.
Mayor, I'd rather have the attorney answer. And my voice, thank you.
He's digging through it.
Regardless, the point is, from the very beginning, all we asked for was a vote. And you say that we tried to stop everything, all the progress in the community. I know Mr. Windle was talking to me on Facebook, trying to be some anonymous dude. That we fight everything. That is just not true. I have never seen anybody come together like this to fight something. Because we trust you guys to do what's right, and you usually do, but when your citizens finally stand up and they pack a room, you need to listen. And all we asked for was a damn vote. And I'm so disappointed.
Shelley, listen to this.
I might not agree with you.
Shelley, listen to this. I'm reading you right from 840. Without a certification that all of the above are true, and it's just the explanation, it's, I state all this. The validity of the signatures cannot be truly ascertained. In order to bring the petition in compliance with state law, new petition forms must be submitted with the included language. It's right there.
Yes,
That
the
means
included
that-
language is certification, not new signatures.
I don't believe that. I don't think that's what that says at all. Note.
Well, that's what
No,
you-
wait a minute. This will require recollection of the signatures. It's right there. It's right there. I'm reading it out of state.
Why are we even talking about this? Because we just did it.
Oh,
And it was just certified.
because you guys are telling us.
But then you play games in between.
No,
You see
I'm
the
not.
opening, you see what we had.
No, I'm not.
And then you
Mark.
close the deed.
Mark, I just,
And you rushed the deed.
I just-
Obviously, you rushed the deed.
I-
The guy made mistakes because he's rushing a
I
deed.
literally just told you that I asked him what happens if I don't sign it.
You're making this up, Todd. You're just making it up. You closed that deed and you thought, you told everybody, it's done. It's done. Well, it's not done. And it won't be done.
Right, yeah, I mean, I literally just told you the explanation and the conversation I had with the city.
It's not gonna be done, guys.
Okay.
It's not gonna be
So,
done. So
alright.
just move ahead. I
Council.
don't do nothing.
Council, do you have any more questions or comments on this topic? Okay. Next on the agenda then, item 6, Richland County Executive and Finance Committee's request to reestablish the city-county ad hoc committee. Who's got that one?
That'll be me. So the county administrator, following an executive and finance committee meeting, reached out expressing the executive and finance committee's desire to reestablish the ad hoc city-county meeting. In the past, this was a group that met to discuss issues of shared importance such as Simons, and other shared things like the ambulance service, the campus at one time, the wastewater treatment plant, etc. So they've just extended an invitation to reestablish that committee and resume meetings if it was desired by the city as well.
And by the way, I think it's a good idea because you see we're dealing with ambulance issues. We're trying to talk about housing at the campus. I don't know what else might come up, but I'm sure there will be more. Questions or comments on this one?
So I sat on this ad hoc committee when Clint, I think we tried to revitalize it when Clint was the city or county administrator. It kind of fizzled out because we kept having there was changes in administration at the county. But I felt like we were kind of getting some good traction, and then something major like that would change. So I don't feel it's a bad idea. You bring all the parties to the table, choose some representatives, and then those individuals can report back to the council on the high points. And then hopefully save a little council time because the ad hoc committee would be looking at it. Like I said, it was a good idea. It's just because of the turnover they had at the county, we kind of lost traction and it fizzled out.
I remember that. Okay.
Before we move on, is it the will of the council that I reach out to the county administrator and say that there is an openness to this, or what would you like me to do?
You could always make a motion to direct the city administrator to contact the county administrator and pursue, I guess, reestablishing the city-county ad hoc.
I have a question. I wasn't here for the previous ad hoc. Is there a topic that this ad hoc committee is assigned with, or is it just a standing committee and when topics come up then it gets enacted, or how is it set up?
Like what Melanie was referring to, there was at that time big conversations about economic development and Simons and things like that where we're both involved in. So it spurred this ad hoc to meet and try to make headway and work through agreements and things like that. So there was an iteration even before that where they talked about those shared services, again, Simons, ambulance, etc. But then there would also be some more general discussion. So like when the new wastewater treatment plant was being built, that was a discussion. So I think it is a way for, a formal way for consistent communication to be occurring between the elected representatives of both bodies.
Okay, how do you folks want to proceed on this? Or do you?
My opinion is that it would, an ad hoc would make sense if there's a topic, but if just to have a standing committee, then no.
Okay, so is it your choice then to take no action on this, or would you like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion
Go ahead.
to direct the city administrator to reach back out to the county administrator to continue the discussion on reestablishing the city-county ad hoc committee.
Second.
Okay, we have the motion and the second. Is there discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one's carried. Okay, item 7, designation of city representative for county ambulance service meetings.
So again, the county administrator reached out advising that there is an upcoming meeting. It's in the packet, the email, where they're going to be talking about the future of the ambulance service planning for beyond 2026. And so the county would like a representative from each of the municipalities to participate in that. And so this item is for you to designate said representative.
Okay, which we need to do. I mean, there's going to be a lot of work on this going forward, so Doug and I are the two representatives on what has been the Joint Ambulance Committee, which will be no more. So who would you folks like to have represent the city on this new ambulance committee?
Question.
Yeah.
So this person should be a member of council?
I don't believe there are any stipulations or conditions.
I don't believe so either.
Well, it says a designated decision maker.
So you have the ability to give whomever your representative the ability to make decisions to some extent.
So will we do this by nominations or self-nominating, or just what process?
If you want to, or you could just make a motion to appoint somebody. I mean, this is just a committee that we're gonna work, it's gonna work through the ambulance thing, and it won't make any final decisions on behalf of the city, so.
Mr. Mayor, where Doug is already serving, I would nominate Doug Martinek to fill that role.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of appointing Mr. Martinek to represent the city on the county ambulance, at the county ambulance service meetings, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one's carried. All right, item 8, Lydia's house property transfer.
All right, so you may recall earlier in the year, we had a discussion about transferring ownership of Lydia's house from Southwest Half to Lydia's house. There have been changes since then, and to our surprise, the city now owns Lydia's house. So Attorney Wendell and I have both met with Lydia's house representatives, discussing the logistics of that and how we might address that, as it's not ever been the stated or desired goal of the city to own Lydia's house. However, the city has been supportive of that initiative. We do have CDBG related funding that's connected with it, which is what's ultimately caused the city to come into ownership. And just to be clear, properties can be transferred without consent of the receiving party. And so you didn't miss anything. There wasn't a motion or action by the council that authorized the transfer and receipt of property. It just occurred. And then we found out. And so now it's, well, how do we move forward and what do we do? Right now we are researching the particular type of CDBG funding associated with this property. It is from many decades ago, and so it's likely that the same restrictions that applied when it was provided as a loan no longer apply, hopefully. So we're gonna continue to look into that, continue to work with those representatives, and come back before you with the plan that we believe would allow Lydia's house to keep operating as intended and be a benefit to the community.
Okay, so what do we need to do with this tonight?
You just need to be aware.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, it has been an interesting, I've never seen that happen before. And they're not here tonight, but thank you to the local pastors who have been passionately involved in this still.
And I think it is good for everybody, just go periodically check out your deed. Make sure it's still in your name, because that is a form of fraud that does go on. If you can receive property and not even know
To be
it.
clear, we're not alleging SWCAP
No.
committed any kind of
No,
fraud.
no, it's
Simply that they did not necessarily inform us before transferring property to our ownership.
Yes, so in that vein, we have public records that are available, that you can look at your property information and just explore that, just as a fun exercise.
When did this occur?
Sounds like the city needs to sign up for property fraud alert.
When did this occur?
What,
So you'll recall that the council voted to allow the transfer of the CDBG obligations. The next day, we got a letter from Lydia's house saying, nobody talked to us, we can't afford any of these fees, please don't do this to us. We forwarded that letter to the executive director of SWCAP, and then the next day, we pretty much woke up to a quick clean deed.
yeah, so it came, there was a little bit of separation, but it did come in the mail, and we had no, in fact, we received it and said, what is this about? And immediately got a hold of Attorney Wendell going, why do we have a deed for this property? What happened here? So that was, I think, maybe early fall. I'm not precisely sure.
And I'll just note for emphasis, I sit on the SWCAP board, said executive director reports to me in that context, and I was still surprised that this happened.
And just one other thing to be aware of, it has created complications for Lydia's house because they're not technically the owner, and so they've attempted to do things like update their fire alarm system and have had challenges. So I have, because they're not the owner, so I have reached out to that company and made them aware that they can bill directly to Lydia's house, and they can, pursue any sort of fire systems that they want to ensure safety, etc.
We just don't want to do what SWCAP did and then stick Lydia's house with a $70,000 obligation that they didn't sign up for. So we're working diligently to ensure that we can transfer it appropriately or work out some other arrangement.
Okay. Anything further on that one? Okay, next one, municipal licenses.
So we received the applications for the annual taxi license renewals. We received one from Richard Running at Running Inc. and James Tony Burke III for town taxi. We're still in the final stages of that approval process. There were some scheduling conflicts to get the vehicle inspections done. So we're asking for approval of the 2026 annual taxi licenses contingent upon completion of vehicle inspections and the companies providing any information as required by our ordinance that maybe they have not already provided. They expire at the end of the year, and so here we are, the end of the year.
Okay. Okay, so what we're looking for is a motion to approve the 2026 annual taxi licenses contingent upon completion of vehicle inspections and providing any further information as requested by the police or city deputy clerk. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
That's good, because that's what the cover sheet says. Okay, entertain a motion.
So move.
As read. We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and the second, did you get that? Okay, is there discussion on this point? If not, we'll need a roll call, please.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
Schultz. Aye. Walters. Aye. Martinek.
Aye.
Motion carried, Mayor.
Thank you. Finance Committee recommendation, Mr. Ryan Cairns.
Number 10, audit engagement for 2025. Would you like to speak about that?
Sure. So this is an annual requirement. Johnson Block sends us this engagement every year to continue receiving services from them. By approving this, we'll be able to secure the audit of 2025. We have a tentative fieldwork dates set up of May 18th through 20. The letter is in your packet as well as a cover sheet. This is the standard letter, the standard language that we receive every year. The base fee for our audit is $23,600, and then they do additional work, reporting, filings, etc., that they will charge on an hourly basis, so they're outside of the audit but related. And that hourly basis, it depends on who's doing the work, but between $100 to $200 per hour. So we're looking at, on top of the base audit fee, an additional $4,000 to $8,000. Over the last 6 years, we've averaged a cost of about $27,000 per year on our audit. And like I mentioned, we've worked with Johnson Block for many years. Our utility also has an audit. They use Baker Tilly, so Johnson Block will work with Baker Tilly to incorporate the utilities audit into ours as well. So when you receive it, you'll have both city information as well as utility information in that audit. So standard letter, this secures them for continued service to conduct our audit.
Motion to approve the audit engagement letter with Johnson Block and Company, Inc. for the fiscal year ended December 31, 2025, and authorize the secretary to sign the document.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
A second.
Second from Ms. Tepley, is there discussion? I don't think we need a roll call on that. Hearing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one's carried.
Number 11, reallocation of HUD grant funds. Jason, you do such a good job.
Okay, there is a cover sheet for your review. We did review this in Finance Committee. We've got several bullet points there describing the history of our community project funding grant that we received. In 2024, it was $2.5 million to support municipal infrastructure expansion. The grant was originally submitted to extend utility and roadway infrastructure on and around the future hospital site, but due to extended project start timeline, we needed to reallocate the funds. Several potential reallocation projects were discussed, including Hyde Drive High School project, Jefferson Street redevelopment area in Lamont housing subdivision. In July, in a special session, the council approved allocating additional funding for housing infrastructure toward the Lamont project. However, at this point, due to unforeseen delays with the Lamont housing subdivision project, we are requesting your approval to shift our subdivision efforts to explore a collaboration with the county on developing a portion of the old campus site. Again, we've discussed that concept way back in 2021 when I was a dual employee of both the city and the county for economic development. The mayor and I did have an opportunity to reintroduce the concept to the County Campus Reconfiguration Committee at its November 19th meeting. It was well received, though there were no official votes or decisions were made. A cost estimate prepared by Rubric Engineering indicates that the supporting infrastructure required for the campus subdivision would be approximately $2.1 million. The Campus Reconfiguration Committee has indicated that they would like this item discussed further at their December 17th meeting. I did attach concept maps. The first one is an aerial shot of the campus property. The yellow box highlights the area that we have been discussing and again was originally discussed in 2021. And the next image you have is kind of a layout of a potential subdivision for 17 lots. That idea was initially submitted to us by Dale Bender. There we go. So this again was covered in a community forum at the Phoenix Center. And at this point, the Finance Committee did approve of the motion that is listed there. And we're just looking for a motion from council to support this initiative in hopefully collaborating with the county to end up with a housing subdivision.
Thank you, Jason. Motion to approve the city administration and economic development departments collaborating with the county to explore potential housing subdivision on a portion of the old campus site and incorporate the HUD community project funding grant into the planning and funding strategy for this project.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Ms. Schultz, is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one's carried.
Number 12, award Public Works heater replacement. We went over this in finance and it's been through the Public Works Committee. The city garage, the heater needs replacement. The city sent out a request for bids, contacted 5 local vendors. One vendor responded, Jelanic Plumbing and Heating, to replace the heater at a cost of $5,550. My motion to award the Public Works heater replacement project to Jelanic Plumbing and Heating at a cost of approximately $5,550.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Dennels, is there discussion? Okay, hearing none, we will need a roll call for that one.
Fruit,
Aye.
Templey,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Martinek,
Aye.
Downs,
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
That one's carried.
Thank you. Number 13, 2026 Richland County EMS contract. Would you like to speak to that, Ashley, please?
Sure, I will. So after the last time we discussed this, that was November 10th, the council had instructed me to continue negotiating a contract addressing the formation of an EMS district within that contract, as well as how assets will be handled in the event of the county ambulance service dissolving. And after doing so, we would bring back the final contract for the council to approve prior to fully executing it. So since that time, the city's attorney along with the county attorney have been in communication. Some changes have been recommended. There's been a willingness to discuss those changes. And right now, we have a few points that we still need to finalize. One being an effective date. So we did ask for backdating the contract, which would assist us in qualifying for a levy limit adjustment. And we also asked for the inclusion of language that would legally meet the requirements for a joint EMS district. So the county has expressed support in ensuring that we have language in the agreement that does reflect that it is a joint EMS agreement. However, they have reservations about backdating. We're waiting more information from the Department of Revenue before we can go further on that point. The county has also expressed a willingness to a degree to include language about the disposition of assets beyond 2026, which is it's a very positive development. And then lastly, call run data. We had not received the full call run data. We now have it. We've reviewed that information, and there were some discrepancies in the calls. So there were some being attributed to the city that were from other municipalities. There were some that had insufficient information to be able to accurately determine which municipality they actually occurred in. And then there were some other questions about the labeling of data. And so we've requested clarification from the county, and I think we'll be able to relatively easily get that squared away and have an accurate call average to use in the 2026 contract. So the request and the recommendation for you all would be to authorize the city administrator to execute the final contract, provided that those 3 points that were just discussed are adequately addressed. So that way we have a contract in place prior to January 1.
That will be my motion.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
I'll second.
Steve got that one. Okay, is there discussion?
I have a quick question. Once this district is formed, who handles the money?
So the way that the contract would read is that the district would be assessed a total contribution, and then within that, it's broken out per municipality. So then we just pay it directly to the county for the provision of the service.
So the county is still the fiscal agent?
Right, because they're providing that service, so it's just like a contractor, essentially.
Okay, is there further discussion? Hearing none, we'll need a roll call, please.
Templey,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Martinek,
Aye.
Downs,
Aye.
Cairns,
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Number 14, bid award raising and site restoration, 695 North Chestnut Street.
So 695 North Chestnut Street is a property that has been on the radar for a while. Earlier this year, a raise order was issued that provided the property owner with 90 days to raise the structure. They failed to do so. It's currently vacated, there's no one living in there. And so at this point, the city has the ability to see that the property, the structure is raised. So we no longer have to wait for the owner to take action. We're able to do so, and then we can recover those costs for raising through a special assessment. We've complied with the required notices to include a Class 1 notice for soliciting or making the community aware that this project is to occur because it is considered public construction. So it's public construction, but less than $25,000. So we don't have the statutory competitive bidding requirements that you would with projects over $25,000, but we do have to do a Class 1 notice. So that was executed. Unfortunately, I counted the days incorrectly and didn't account for the holiday with the publication in the newspaper. And so we made the deadline for bid submissions to be December 4th. However, with the miscalculation due to holiday, actually as of today, bids can be awarded. Unfortunately, I don't have all of the bids available for you because the deadline has not occurred. So the request would be to allow the city administrator to award the bid to the lowest qualified bidder that meets the specifications after the deadline.
That will be my motion.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Walters, is there discussion? Hearing none, we do need a roll call on that.
Schultz. Aye. Walters. Aye. Martinek.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Groot.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and that puts us at another Finance Committee recommendation, resolution adopting, I can't read finance, adopting outdoor recreation plan.
So this should say Park Board, but that was a mistake. So it says Finance Committee, but it is a recommendation coming from Park Board, and Jody is with us tonight for that.
So every 5 years, the city has to amend the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan to provide strategic framework for maintaining, improving, and expanding the city's parks and trails system. It also allows us to apply for and remain eligible for Wisconsin DNR grants, LawCon grants, and other state and federal rec grants. Basically, our 2026 through 2030 comprehensive outdoor rec plan outlines maintaining our current park system, becoming equitable, ADA accessible in all of our recreation spaces. There is definite need for that in all of our parks after doing inventory of that. Continued conservation and protection of our environmentally sensitive areas. Looking to work with county collaboration to connect trails to support alternative transportation and tourism. And then continue to collaborate with the school district as well as civic groups, Southwest Partners, and the county and the broader community. The plan highlights some of our major accomplishments since 2021. We've updated new playgrounds, athletic field upgrades, dugouts, expanded pickleball facilities, highly popular pickleball facilities, refreshed branding, ADA kayak launches, and trailhead improvements. And I did look to see that the trailhead signs were up. Just drove by today, so that was nice to see. Overall, we're looking for a motion to adopt the 2026 through 2030 comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. So basically, we're asking for a motion to adopt the resolution 2025-14 regarding updated updating the comprehensive outdoor recreational plan as presented.
Here, I'll read it. City of Richland Center, Resolution 2025-14, resolution adopting updated comprehensive outdoor recreational plan, whereas the City of Richland Center has historically maintained a comprehensive outdoor recreation plan to guide recreational planning and preserve eligibility for state and federal outdoor recreation funding programs, and whereas to maintain the city's eligibility for Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Stewardship, LawCon, and other cost-sharing grant programs, this plan must be updated every 5 years. And whereas the updated 2026 to 2030 Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan for the City of Richland Center has been prepared through coordination with the Park Board, the Public Works Department, and community stakeholders, and whereas the updated plan reflects sound planning principles, community identified priorities, and long-range goals for the city's parks, trails, and outdoor recreation system. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Richland Center City Council hereby goes on record to adopt the updated comprehensive outdoor recreation plan as the city's guide for future outdoor recreation improvements. Be it further resolved that the city requests the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources to maintain the City of Richland Center's eligibility for participation in LawCon, stewardship, and other recreation-related grant programs for the duration of this 5-year planning period, adopted by the Common Council, should they do so on this date. That's how it reads, and we got the motion and the second in there, correct, or have we not? We need to do that, is entertain a motion.
So moved.
Melanie gets the motion, is there a second? Steve gets a second, is there discussion?
I would just like to say, Jody, this is very well written. You did a great job on this, and anybody else that helped you out, thanks.
A lot of it was previous planning guided me, and then I made changes and went from there. So.
Any further discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Walters.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Groot.
Aye.
Tepley. Schultz.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, next would be, let's see, we're most going through here. We need to do 17, amendment of chapter 42 of the Code of Ordinances for the bond of treasurer.
So this comes from personnel, but I am going to ask Ashley or Misty because they have a little more knowledge of the background of it.
All right, so Chapter 42 is our city officers ordinance. That is one of our newer ordinances that was adopted, and it lists out the statutory authorities and responsibilities, et cetera, of city officers, the treasurer being one of them. Each year, for property tax collection purposes, the treasurer has to get bonded. So there's a year-round bond, but then there's an additional property tax collection bond. And so we comply with that. We do that every year. However, state statute does allow for us to amend our ordinance and allow a waiver of the bonding requirements. And so this is allowed because we have insurance coverage, as you heard Ryan earlier tonight talk about. We have other policies in place that provide protection and coverage where this is unnecessary, but it should be done knowing that you are taking on a liability while you have other coverage that provides adequate protection. It's still a liability. So the cover sheet outlines that for you. The request is to waive the bonding requirement for the treasurer. We wouldn't have to go through that annual process. There is a cost savings, but it's about $350 or more each year. A real benefit to us is that it is a process to get bonded. Where we have to apply for it. There's a degree of a background check, and while we've not run into this issue, it can be challenging depending on the individual's credit history, etc. So this would eliminate an administrative task that we have to go through without putting the city at any sort of unnecessary risk or risk that isn't being mitigated through internal financial policies, the audit that we do, as well as our other coverage.
Mayor, were you planning on reading this ordinance?
I would rather not.
So let's see, how do I word it? Motion to
Suspend the rules
suspend the rules, waive the reading, to adopt ordinance 2025-11, which is entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 42 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Richland Center, Wisconsin, related to the city treasurer bonding requirements, thereby waiving the statutory bond requirement under Wisconsin statute 70.67(1), and directing the city clerk to file a certified copy of the adopted ordinance with the county treasurer as required by law.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and the second, is there discussion?
Who seconded it? I'm sorry.
Mr. Downs,
Okay.
is there discussion? Hearing none, we'll need a roll call on that one.
Walters? Aye. Martinek?
Aye.
Downs?
Aye.
Cairns?
Aye.
Fruit?
Aye.
Tepley?
Aye.
McCarthy? Not here. Schultz?
Aye.
That one's carried.
Carried, yes.
Yep, that one's good. Okay, we skipped 18 is off tonight, we did 16 earlier. Item 19, an ordinance amending Chapter 101 relating to prohibiting parking on portions of North Cedar, East 8th, and North Pearl Streets. Mr. Fruit.
This has been through both Public Works and Public Safety, and I think it's easily summarized as a proactive matter of safety and practicality, especially during winter storms and potential emergency situations. Darcy and Jason have developed a map that really shows well. I think that the property owners in that area are all in favor. And so Jason, let me turn it over to you and Darcy to kind of give an overview.
And so the first map that you have there is of North Cedar and East 8th. And the primary concern becomes that the road is only 28 feet wide there. And so when you get vehicles parking on both sides, you can end up with a passageway between the vehicles parked on both sides that is roughly 10 feet. And so, for example, the plows that we use on our trucks are 11 feet. And emergency vehicles, if somebody parks inadvertently off the curb a foot or two, you're not going to get an ambulance or a fire engine through there. So for that reason, I did collaborate with Chief Billy Jones, and we both agreed that it would be wise to submit this to the committees for their consideration to go ahead and limit parking to one side. So there'd be no parking on the red boundary that you see there. I'll bring it down a little bit more, Darcy. Yep. So that would basically be the southeast and then the north side of southeast and north side of, it's the southeast of Cedar and the north side of 8th. The next area that we discussed is Pearl Street. This is right there by the park that we have and the hospital there. There's a duplex built on both sides of Pearl, and I think the other one's Sheldon. In that case, we have a road that is of similar width, and we often end up with vehicles parked on both sides. This was actually brought up by a plan commission person who showed me a photo, and again, I talked to Chief Billy. He's like, absolutely, submit it to the committees. Committees are in favor, so we're moving or requesting that we would move that to one side parking as well, or no parking on one side.
So as I said, both Public Works and Public Safety reviewed this, and all members were in favor. And so I would make the motion this evening in regards to this to adopt, I suspend the rules and waive the reading. Is that appropriate, Attorney?
Yes.
To adopt ordinance number 2025-12, establishing prohibited parking on portions of North Cedar Street, East 8th Street, and North Pearl Street as presented.
The motion from Mr. Fruit, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Rachel, is there discussion on this one?
One more thing, and Billy addressed this last night, but I guess for council, that if I understood correctly, after this motion is made and this ordinance is in place, then we would be able to deal with alternate site parking with those areas being exempt, since there is only parking on one side of the street.
Okay.
That's what we talked about in Public Works.
Yeah, so but this has to happen first, and then the next step can be taken to make that go, if someone's wondering.
Okay. Further discussion? And we'll need a roll call on that.
Fruit,
Aye.
Headley,
Aye.
Schultz. Aye. Walters.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
Downs. Cairns.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Next, appointment and confirmation. We don't have any new ones tonight. Public comment, we did. Next on the agenda is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
Everyone to my left. All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. The next meeting is